Here we go. Well, hello, everyone. Hello, Labyrinthers. I have here today Charlie, and we have Aliyah with us. Say hi,
Hello.
Aliyah.
Hi, everyone. Happy Venus Day.
Yes, happy Venus Day. Oh, and we have my cat's tail coming in.
Yes, the kitty.
So today, we are really excited to kind of relaunch the Cosmic Labyrinth show, and we have kind of like two different hosts. But you know, the idea of the Cosmic Labyrinth is all about being a multi-dimensional and ever-evolving experience where children and inner children are empowered to live with curiosity and cosmic consciousness. So we are developers, artists and healers, scientists, builders who are building an intervolutionary gaming platform that's going to be the nexus of knowledge about ancient cultures, mystic wisdom, and self-care, right? Because you can't have enough self-care. So we currently are curating educational play shops online and in person, as well to reconnect us to the wisdom of the elements and the science and spirituality inherent in all of them, right? So we are going to be having these discussions further throughout the series. And here with Aliyah, we're a part of a great community of people. So we'll have them come in to share different things. And so I guess we're going to start. Aliyah, would you like to say anything?
First of all, Charlie, excellent job.
Thank you.
Off the park. So proud of you, because I probably couldn't have done that smoothly. So, Ashe, I appreciate it. So, I'm Aliyah, but y'all can just call me Tizzle, and I'm really excited about us embarking on this show and bringing it to the collective, because this is a dream manifest, and all the things that we're about to bring to y'all, the topics, the conversations, the energy, gonna hit right here. So buckle up.
Yes. Hey, Tizzle, can you try to be a little closer? Because I think when you move around, the mic changes volume. So let's make sure we're good. Yes. If that's not too restrictive, of course.
No, this is perfect. This is perfect.
Okay.
It was an easy laptop slide.
Awesome. So let's get started to the beginning of the show. I think we all want to start with an astrology reading, kind of see what's going on in the stars and the transits, because astrology is a very strong part of our curriculum and how we're trying to really bring a little bit of structure. So really like spirituality and the technology together. So let's look at today's transits.
On this Venus Day.
Here we go.
Okay.
So we're here in Houston. I'm here in Houston, and Tizzle is in California, Long Beach, right?
LA, Los Angeles.
LA, yes.
Yes.
I used to be out there too. So out here in Houston, it is July 15, 2022, 3:11. And this is our current transit. So we got Sun in Cancer here, Mercury conjunct. I mean, that's a pretty strong conjunct.
Very big.
And then
communicating all the things today. And it's in the 9th house. So it's important to like acknowledge that, because with that placement being in the 9th house, it's literally about like, what are the things you're dreaming about? What are the things you're like wanting to call in? Like, and how are you going to communicate those things? So the fact that we're starting this today with that happening, and then the nurturing that we're providing with the Cancerian energy is even more powerful. I love this.
And it's a very powerful trine. If you can see right here, it's South Node in Scorpio and connected here with Neptune in Pisces, right? So it's almost like some deeper self-healing knowledge coming through. Right, the 5th house, 1st house here, 9th house.
Yep, all aligned. So identity, the tribe or the family, and then your goals and aspirations. So like all of those things combined, like stop being surface and basic about those things, because the more you deny what it is that you're truly feeling, the more you'll just continue to float and not really ascend to the levels that you're supposed to. And that's really a part of what we're doing here with the Cosmic Labyrinth, with the information that we're providing, is providing a space for all of y'all to feel more comfortable, be open about all of your gifts and talents that you have that you've maybe been hiding, right? That Scorpio energy right there, right at the first house, identity. It's like, be open about it, be bold with it, because it's your time. And with everything transforming the way it is, it's time for you to transform too.
Yeah, it's very interesting because the North Node here is sitting in Capricorn and Uranus in Capricorn. That's been out there for a while now. And so they're conjuncting. And then we got here Mars and Taurus coming in, right? Coming in and sliding into this whole Taurian energy, opposing our kind of like our past selves that's really going to change, right?
Yes.
Transformation. And then the moon, check out here in the fourth house of home and with conjunct Saturn. And it's almost looking at it here, right? Coming in from Aquarius and the midheaven being Leo up here. It's really interesting, right? It's almost kind of like coming from the bottom of the energy and rising back up, right? So this Aquarian energy and with Saturn, also sad because now Saturn in Aquarius has changed from Capricorn, so it's also going through these changes. And then Pluto in Capricorn going through its retrograde over here by itself while everybody's kind of moved forward, right? So it's a very interesting stage right now as we're, the Cosmic Labyrinth represents this new transition where we're still seeing the old living parallel to us, but we're all kind of coming out, I think, of a interesting reverie, interesting dream, where we felt very limited. And now that there's an opportunity for us to kind of bring new ideas, new curriculums, new thoughts, new patterns to work with. It's really powerful where we have these beautiful, nourishing water energy trying each other and saying, hey, let's come together to kind of heal and nourish ourselves. But then this is kind of like, moon spiritual, rebellious energy coming in, being an individual and forgetting that, like, let's break the structure and be more individualistic and be, know our true selves.
Yes. And Saturn is not going to, Saturn gives no F's, y'all. Pluto gives no F's. So it's like, you're either going to do it or we're going to create situations that are going to force you to do it. So which way are you going to choose to go?
And Aquarius really represents us being on Zoom right now, represents very Aquarius energy where we're no longer, like, imagine back in the days when we were doing a show, you needed publishers, you needed a place to put your show on, right? Whether it was TV station and whatnot. And so there was a lot of structure to be able to speak up and have your presence known. But today, we're just on Zoom now. Like, how many of us are having Zoom conversations as a daily life? I'm in school right now in a doctorate program, and a lot of our classes are on Zoom. So it's very much this Aquarius energy, and it wasn't us that made Zoom popular. It was what happened with COVID 2020 when that changed, the world changed, and Zoom was forced into our lives. So this is how how Saturn doesn't give a fuck, right? Like, Saturn is coming in, and then it's coming in with that very Aquarian energy. So we're going to see a lot more changes in the industries that we're familiar with. That's going to have an overhaul, and we're going to have more of, like, I believe, where individuality is becoming more important in how we interact with the world.
So real. And the last thing I want to mention, like Chiron in Aries right now in the sixth house.
Yeah.
Like, work on your wounds, y'all. Work on that hidden trauma, because Mars is the self and identity and action, like taking action, like stop sleeping on yourself. And then you have it in the sixth house, which is the house of Virgo. So it's about taking care of business, like really putting in the work and not trying to bypass. That's the vibe.
And so the imagery I get is like, our childhood trauma. I think all of us have come from childhood trauma, right? So the first 7 years of our lives, what we talk is a lot of core memories that come into our own being. And a lot of times those will create the circumstances and the patterns that we live with today. So having like popcorn for the first time when you're a kid and loving popcorn because during those first 7 years, like popcorn was a ritual that you had maybe when you had your best experiences watching movies. So, those things are wounds that we, feel like we need to deal with. And it's great because right now we're in cancer anyways. And so our inner mother energy should come out to really give us a hug, hold us down while we're like having a good cry about how, our childhood trauma was pretty dang, terrible for us. And everybody, this is not about whose trauma is worse than whose. It's all relatively speaking, all of our trauma was considered bad to us to have these behaviors that we have today. So,
Yes.
And this is very important that we have this conversation of trauma too, because I think we were today even have a topic conversation about our trauma and friction in education systems that we come from. So, stay tuned for that conversation because we definitely have some good jabs at this education system. This old Capricorn, Pluto hanging out in Capricorn, retrograding, saying, so how do we do with education? It's like, oh, hold it, because I have a lot to say. So we're all gonna break that up. Do you have anything else to add to our transit for the day?
No, no. I feel like we've said a good amount because you keep going and going and going with astrology, and we will. It's just not right now.
Yes. And so this is just to show everybody, this is like a fun way to see how the transits, just like imagine this is kind of like our weather report, right? And we just looked at the cosmic weather together and gave our own interpretation of how the energies will be coming for us.
We need a cosmic weather song. Cosmic weather.
Yes. Ta-da. Oh, maybe change my virtual background to something more weathery.
I love it. No, this is the weather, the cosmic storm.
Exactly. So our next agenda topic is I would like to bring up Aliyah for a great conversation of, who are we? Why are we here? And what does the cosmic labyrinth mean to us, right? Because I think we read, some interesting, awesome mission statement that is, representative, but what's our personal journey? So Aliyah, please tell us a little bit more about your personal journey. If someone could ask you, if we were to put you in like a baseball card, right? Or a comic book card of like your highlights of, Miss Tizzle's best, since 2020. Could you summarize some of your personal story highlights of, why you feel like, these are more highlighted during this time as being part of the Cosmic Labyrinth?
Wow. Thank you so much for that intro. And I love the idea of me being on a baseball card because I used to collect baseball cards, not even knowing what I was going to do with them, but it was such a thing because like I knew other kids were doing it. I was like, I'm going to collect these too. I remember Nolan Ryan. Like I had a Nolan Ryan card, but like what happened to that card now, I don't know. But here we go. For my baseball card, right? Tizzle, Tizzle, says it on the screen. And I'll start off with that. Like my first name is Ilea, last name is Thomas. And when I was teaching in the traditional classroom, I had a student named Spencer who just one day turned around and was like, Miss T, can I call you Tizzle? I was like, oh, I like it. Why? Have you ever watched the Magic School Bus? I was like, yo, with Miss Frizzle? Of course. He's like, yeah, you're kind of like a black version. Look the way you dress, like how cool you are. So can I call you Tizzle? I was like, dude. So that was way back in 2010, 2011, and it's just stuck, right? So that's where Tizzle comes from, and I get.
Can you do me a favor? Can we try without your headphones? Because you go
Hold
in
on.
and out, and yeah, it might be inconsistent for the audience. Because that story was great, and it was kind of tough when like the good part was
No.
there.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah. Maybe
Okay,
can we
good.
do that story again, and then we might have to do edit just
Edit.
because that story is like really important, and you kind of cut out in out. So
Thank you
yeah,
for checking it
yeah.
or for calling it out. So,
So
okay.
the Tizzle story, yes.
Tizzle. Why am I called Tizzle, y'all? So back in the day, right? My first name is Ilea. My last name is Thomas. And when I was still teaching in the traditional classroom, I had a student named Spencer. And one day he just turned around and he goes, "Hey, Miss T." I'm like, "Yes, Spencer." He's like, "Can I call you Tizzle?" And I'm like, "What? Tizzle? I love it. Why?" And then he goes, "Have you ever seen the Magic School Bus?" And I was like, "What? With Miss Frizzle? Of course. I love her." And he's like, "You remind me of her, but a Black version with how you dress and the way you act." And I just, "Yeah, can I call you Tizzle?" So I was like, "Of course, do it." And that was back 2010, 2011. And it's just stuck, right? And it's my heart. And it's like my alter ego in a sense. And for me, right, if I was thinking about the baseball card, right? So my name, then the other
Stay
thing
closer
that
to
would
the
be
mic. Yeah,
the
stay
other
closer.
thing that I would include on my baseball card are my big three, right? When I say big three, I'm talking about my astrology. So I'm a Pisces sun, Leo rising, Gemini moon. And I think that's really important because it literally encompasses all the different facets of who I am and like why I'm here as a cosmic labyrinther right now. You know, back in 2018, I had been teaching at that point for 18 years, right? I first started teaching back in 2000, my senior year of high school, as a preschool instructor. And I just continued my journey from then. But back in 2018, it just really dawned on me that education was shifting and shifting in a way that I wasn't really agreeing with in regards to how students weren't really being, looked after. And you were kind of looked down if you were putting students and their voices at the center of what you were doing. And that's exactly what I was about. I mean, I just told you how I let a student change my name and it became like my name. So
Right.
I believe in the power of students and their innovations and their ideas. And so in 2018, I literally was like, I can't do this anymore. I can't be complicit. I can't co-sign. And it was deep because I felt guilty for leaving the classroom and leaving all my students. But then I was like hopeful because there has to be another way to do this. And my whole mission at that point was just to stay grounded and focused and just really ask help, ask spirit, ask ancestors, like to guide me towards the right people. So then I was out of education for a really long time.
So that was how many years before 2018?
How many years before 2018 that I was teaching?
Yeah.
Yeah, since 2000. That was my first class.
Wow. Okay.
So
okay.
I've been
2000.
teaching for 22 years now.
And
So
mostly art or different topics?
always art.
Always art.
Art is my heart.
Yes.
So let's see. Fall of 2021, I got a call to be a professor, right? At Cal State Long Beach. And that was amazing because X-Men is like my jam. I had always been thinking like, I want to open my own alternative school. And then I became a professor. So it was like, yes, it's coming into
Professor
place.
Tizzle, yes.
So then Professor Tizzle's in the house. And that experience, It's been so eye-opening because now that I'm working with adults who are working towards being art educators, I'm seeing the other side of it and like what they need and how even at the collegiate level, it's still kind of murky. But I'm here and I really love it. And I love what I'm able to bring to the students as far as like a different way of perceiving education and how they should be showing up in their future classrooms. And it's been mind blowing for them. Okay, so then fast forward to spring 2022.
Mm-hmm.
How did I become a cosmic labyrinther?
Yes.
I took a social justice entrepreneurship class. Shout out to Dr. Utley at Cal State Long Beach. And in this class, there is this guy named Indy, who literally every time there was a meeting, he was like playing a flute, right? And
That sounds familiar. I know that guy.
I was like, this man's amazing. And one day we had a breakout room from the traditional class, and I went to Indy's. As we're in his breakout room, he mentions Cosmic Labyrinth. So, you know, what is that? Gemini moon kicks in full gear. And then I realized he's a part of a group of people who are alternative educators who are on a mission to change how we connect. And I was like, what? Then further deep diving, clicking all the links, get to the YouTube, the Cosmic Labyrinth YouTube. And then I find this guy who's talking about astrology and education and even has like an astrology education game. And my whole jam, and I even started doing this at Cal State Long Beach last fall, is teaching my students how important astrology is into education. And here this dude was, by the way, it was Charlie. Dude right here, showing on YouTube with littles, like little kids, playing this astrology game. And I was like, no way. How is this even possible? Is this real? And so I sent Indy an email. Hi, I was in your breakout room earlier today and I saw the link and I want to know more about the Cosmic Labyrinth because I want to be a part of it. And that's why we're here right now.
So excited for such a beautiful way that like you found us. Like the stories are amazing.
Serendipitous, because
Yes.
and then that's the thing, you know, kind of like the astrology report we gave earlier. Like when you know what it is you want to do, and even if you're just taking like baby steps to get to it, when you stay focused and aligned with your goal, it'll happen. It'll manifest, because that's what this is for me.
Yeah.
A dream manifest.
Yes, exactly. No, this is amazing. Like I'm really excited to also meet you and have you part of the crew. I mean, you know, it's great how you're also really counter to my energy too. So that's why like we're really excited to be able to bring this show together and really have the really tough conversation together and, you know, break down education, you know, is where that's at too. Super.
Yeah, that's my little blurb. That's my card.
Yes. So also, by the way, just you still have the speaker issue, so we'll have to get you a mic set up next time. I think
I'll attach it next time.
Yeah, I think the range around your like if you're moving, it gets really low when you move away from it. So
okay,
just pay attention to this.
Noted.
I know.
I'll hover.
I know. I'm sorry. I wish you had.
No, it's okay. This is the technology thing we always have to figure out. It's how it goes.
Yeah, definitely.
Thanks for your patience, y'all.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so, Charlie, what about you? What's your baseball card?
What's my baseball card? So I definitely grew up with X-Men and the whole idea of mutant abilities, and really one day we would have like these magical powers, you know? And so my story really starts with, I'm actually born in the Caribbean, and so I actually started with a French education before I came to America. And so when I did come to America, right away I felt the difference in education, whether or not things were slowed down on purpose or not. You know, I felt like my peers weren't pushed enough. You know, so from earlier on, you know, and I was also having a difficult time with the language because I was speaking French, Vietnamese, and coming to a, English American speaking country where I was learning English accent in the Caribbeans. So I struggled. So I had to kind of read a lot rather than listen to teacher because I couldn't understand the language. Where reading was easier because you could practice, slow down, and really focus on the words. Um, but I went into I was pre-med in high school, then went into engineering and computer science because that was the days of like the early .com. So AOL, internet was coming online, and so the internet was
Wow.
like the beginning of I'm an introvert extrovert, so to me as a hermit, in high school, they're talking about the internet and how we're gonna have like be able to talk to each other on the computer, and I didn't have to actually face people in person. That was like the greatest for me, right? So I decided, hey, I'm just gonna go into computers. I went into computer science, went into all the technical stuff. I became from an engineer, I became more of a technical manager. And then eventually I got my great opportunity working at Disney and making online games. So at the time, online games was becoming, it was like during the really great time of Flash before mobile games. And so people were making, very addicting games on the Flash and on the web browser. And so that was kind of like the beginning of like Facebook games, right? And you guys all remember those addicting
Oh my gosh.
match 3 games, Candy
Ooh.
Crush World, right?
Oh my
So,
gosh.
so I was there during that time, but what I experienced in that space was, as a gamer, male gamer, I had to make games for girls, right? So I was
Thank
forced to make
you.
games for actually an audience that I was not necessarily comfortable or resonating with. So I studied actually gaming in general, and that was actually my greatest lesson. Is I think going to working at Disney, it was to me my real schooling. What I think education is just to me like a handicapped version of education. When you go into the workspace where they really believe in teaching you more things, there's a Disney University. So I took plenty of time
Wow.
honing in on my creative skills while I was, a tech person. And so tech to me was a very like left brain mechanism, but as a gamer, you're a very creative person. And I had to really tap in to my creative side. I used to draw and do very creative stuff when before I became an engineer. So when I got into tech, I avoided software engineer and said, hey, websites have pictures. I'm going there, right? I'm a really visual developer. And then I'm minored in like tools like Adobe Photoshop, remember back Dreamweaver, Macromedia suites, right? I made my own CD, and that was kind of the beginning of my space there. But really, when I left Disney, I realized that IP, intellectual property, is really the power behind it. And having great intellectual property and being able to tell a story, weave stories and characters. And I'm a huge anime fan. And so I think what could be learned from anime is character development. You throw that into really good story, and you could really help enhance us into the people that we care about, right? Because today, what we see is like kids are connected to their phones, which are connected to the intellectual properties they see on TV, and that's who's speaking to them, who is teaching them today. So for me, when I left corporate, it was to be in alignment with being able to have inspirational games and stories for our youth, not to create, what I say, maybe agenda heavy, stories. And so I really wanted to go into being able to create, like, I love inspirational, like the old school Disney stuff where like it makes you cry because it makes you feel like you want to be a better person, right?
Right.
Where today, I don't know where the movies are going to, where like being a jerk is just as good. I'm like, no, that's not inspirational. So when I left Disney, I went into virtual reality games, and I was not buying into the toxic, gunner games. And so I didn't make a gun game. I actually went into astrology, and as a programmer, astrology to me is literally the language of the matrix that we live in, right? And so we are all living characters, and we have these 4 elements in our astrology. into like a Dungeons and Dragon geek who loves X-Men and the mutant and the whole Marvel series of humans getting superpowers, like astrology was like a hint that we come from these demigods and we've forgotten who we were. So that's kind of my story into wanting to bring astrology into the forefront as a solid structure that we can build ourselves, because a lot of times astrology is really self-reflection of who we are. So why spend all this time, to me, like looking in the mirror with a blindfold, where we can take off the blindfold right away when you're born, right? Kids, let them see who they are so that they continue to be better versions of themselves, rather than, I feel today kids are falling into wanting to be somebody they're not, right? And people always say, like, how do you stop that? Astrology. Like, to me, that's individualized personality test, right? Where today we get to individualize food, where I go to Chipotle and I get to order exactly what I want. Why can't I get that? Exactly. Subway my way, pizza my way with my pizza. Why can't we get education this way? Right. And so that conversation got me going, where I left virtual reality and I left technology to kind of have the conversation of going back to, can education be physical items that you have around you that is simple? It doesn't have to be expensive. Why does education have to be so expensive with the toys, the tools, so that you can have your kids go to great education because they have money, right? No, like, I think
It's an illusion.
It's an illusion. Knowledge is everywhere. So my story now, coming back to today with Cosmic Labyrinth, is I've been building the virtual reality game in a board game rather than in a technical VR game, because a lot of people would need a VR game to experience it. But as a board game, anyone can pick up the game and be able to learn astrology and themselves, and how to be able to even what I call sharpen their own skills. So with that, the Cosmic Labyrinth is the evolution of a board game choosing to become a curriculum that is kind of like, if Charles Xavier, had a school of superhumans, and astrology was their basis, how will we use that to create a curriculum to help kids choose their own like classes, right? Like, take college and how we choose our degree and the courses we take that down to the elementary level, where kids naturally will work with their own natural abilities, their natural talents, and be able to hone that in much earlier, so that they find confidence in themselves to be themselves rather than to be somebody else.
Ooh,
So
I love this.
yeah.
Okay, I have a question, Tra. I have two
Yes.
questions.
Two questions.
Question one,
Mhm.
what is your big three?
Big
Question
three.
two,
Okay.
who's your favorite X-Men character?
Ooh. Okay, so my big three is, I'm a Virgo, and it's a Virgo stellium, so I have a lot in Virgo, and I have a Leo rising and a Leo moon, so double Leo. So I'm a pretty good Earth fire balance.
So good.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you. And so I think our Leo rising together works really well, and be able to like have a show together, right?
Yes, it's so balancing. And I appreciate your Virgoan earthiness.
Yes.
It helps keep me like, otherwise I'd be like, ah.
Yes. And I appreciate the Pisces feeling everything all the time, all at once. It's that movie, right? Everywhere, all the time.
Everything, everywhere, all at once.
Yes.
Watch it.
Yes. I saw it.
Watch
It's
it.
amazing. It's amazing. It's awesome.
Ooh, after you answer your favorite X-Men, I'm gonna ask another question. What's your favorite
Yes.
anime?
Yes. And you have your favorite X-Men too, but my favorite X-Men is definitely Gambit. I grew up being like this French hybrid, so I really love that he had this Cajun accent, this French accent. And if you guys know, you'll learn that like I love cards, and I made my own cards. We'll talk about it in this show, but the board game has a card, and so I'm surrounded by cards, and my weapon of choice is a stick. It's not a blade. It's it's a stick, and maybe acupuncture needles to heal you after
Right?
you up.
I dig it. Yes, Gambit too. And I read my oracle cards and my tarot cards. So, well, I'm still learning about the tarot, but I just love that it's another
Yes.
synchronicity, y'all.
Yes, right? Gambit. So now anime. Oh, I have a few.
One,
That
Charlie.
one's tough. That one's
Just
tough.
one.
That one's tough. Um,
What do you want the
okay.
audience to know?
Okay. It has to be the current favorite one then. It has to be the current favorite one. It's called One Piece. Okay.
Hey.
And if you guys know anything about One Piece, to me, it's a typical fire sign astrology chart for people on this boat. The main character, Luffy, is very much like an Aries. He's like impulsive. He's kind of like, very like not so bright, right? But when it comes to like, you know, personal rights, like, then so there's this subtle slavery concept in the story where the authority, the Navy, what we're dealing with today, is like people ruling people. And so the idea of pirates at the time were like, hey, we hate authority, anarchists, we're our own gang. And so, we all think negatively pirates are bad. But then these guys took the pirate idea of they don't have authority, but they're still in charge of their lives. And so in the world of pirates, it's actually, whoever is the biggest fighter wins, right? Because that's the world of that. If it's not authority, it's really physical prowess tends to be a common way to show who's boss, right?
Yes.
So in the show is just he has he might be an Aries sun, but he has like a Sagittarius rising because every time we see this aspect of slavery, and it's not this, there's parts where it's like straight up like whipping, collar on person, slavery mode. But then there's very much aspect where like, these pirates are forcing people to like, well, do this or your whole family dies, right? And to this like guy who wants to be a pirate, he's like, he believes that pirates should still have code of honor and ethics, but the idea is we don't have to abide to any authority. We are free, right? And so that's a very interesting aspect because I think too many people take the whole idea of pirates as like the bad people who don't follow order, right?
Yes.
But in that world, there's like a light in the darkness, and so the show has great character development, and this character is just a really brilliant like written character because he makes you believe in good in people, and that's what I love about anime is no matter how hard their story complexity is for their characters, there's heart in the inspiration that they bring where they're trying to really conquer their challenges, and they will make you deal with like when people are afraid of dealing with their challenges and how it keeps them from being their true selves, so it's a very powerful pattern that anime does. That's why I really enjoy
One
it.
Piece.
One Piece, everybody.
I love that. Thank you.
Yeah, it's super long. It's like 900 episodes, so it's a marathon, everybody.
What?
It's been going on for like 10 years, 10, 15 years. Yeah.
I know I've seen a couple episodes, but I'm not like die hard watching it, and I haven't really. I need to get back on my anime watching.
We should do like we could do book club, anime club, and then talk about anime and have the conversations, right?
I know several students who would be very interested in the anime club. So.
Yes, and I've actually experienced a lot of teachers that love anime too, and what they did, they actually changed the way they were teaching their classes to use these characters in their conversations, right? So instead of like Mark and Julie got 10 strawberries and he's like, hey, this ninja has 4 kunais and he uses 2 kunais to attack this guy. How many kunais does he have left? I'm like, I better know this because if I'm fighting, I better know how many kunais. And it really connects the kids to their reality. Even if it's an anime, it's still their reality.
Yes. And it gets them interested and engaged and excited about what they're learning. And so when you can pivot like that as an educator, everyone is winning.
Exactly. what would be your favorite story? It doesn't have to be anime, comic book,
Oh
or
man, favorite story?
movie, anime, cartoon.
Oh, that's deep.
That's pretty wide.
Okay, no. So it's a current one.
Okay.
It's current, and the reason why I'm bringing it up is because I feel like they did a really good job. But it's an animated show called Maya and the Three. Why do I love it? It's about this girl who's a demigoddess, right? And her family and her learning about her history and her ancestry and her remembering the story of her ancestors and then owning and coming into her power. And we journey with her, and the elements are involved in it as well, right? And I loved it because it was the first time I saw an animated movie that talked about mature topics, that brought in the occult, that talked about like what it is like to lose a family member, what it's like to like have two dads or have a stepmom, what is it like to have a mom who's like the queen of darkness, and like traversing those things, but doing it in a way that hits home, but it's removed enough to where you are still able to reflect on it and how it applies to your world and your life, and it's good for all of you. Yeah, I love that
Nice.
story.
Nice. So you say it's a movie?
Yeah, I saw it on Netflix. I'm not sure where it is now, but
Okay.
Maya, Maya, and the Three.
And the Three. Okay. Yeah, everybody check it out. It'd be great to be able to share really awesome anime stories, comic books, movies together, right? Because I think that's a way of, more people will talk about pop culture. That's our language of communication. These stories are compelling to us because we connect with their archetypes or their patterns or what they're trying to share with us.
Absolutely. Agreed. 100%.
Yes. Cool. So I think the next kind of topic I wanted to bring up really is the more serious conversation. We've been having this conversation about our experiences and really about our friction in education. And we're coming at it, even if the word education needs to have a change of energy, we're really trying to bring awareness and then bring solutions. We're not here to just say, hey, this sucks, see y'all later. Actually, it's more like, this sucks. What are some really creative solutions? And are there people who are doing things that could support all of us, right? Because I think all of us love learning things. So
I'm gonna start calling myself, instead of an art educator, I'm an art edutainer.
oh yeah, see, I'm all about edutainment too. Would you guys be interested in like watching some cool SNL skit to talk about like real history, right? Or real information? Because that's, to me, would be really fun, is to have really fun skits to explain, very important concepts. So
Yes, I appreciate it. And it's how things like Bill Nye the Science Guy,
yes,
right?
Beatman's World,
Science, right? All of them.
yes,
They are using education, but they're entertaining and you're learning, but you're engaged because you're not just like, hi class, today on art, we're gonna do.
and video games. Like, why can we put civilization as one of the games required for history, right? Because in the conversation of colonization could be like, how many countries did you take over? Now, did you like it? Right? And the conversation is, then let's go play like a MMO now where you're like the slave, right? I mean, but
Which means today.
exactly.
You just lost all your countries.
Yes.
How does it feel?
Because none of us are gonna replay wars, right? But the idea that we shouldn't forget, what war does to us, the heavy prices that we have for it. But it's like Civilization was a great game. I really enjoyed playing that and learned about the different empires and the different technology that came with the empires. So games are great for that too. And so that's where, edutainment is a great place to teach and learn. So
Agreed.
here's the top three I wanted to go over is what are your top three frictions or woes or like sadness in education that makes you show up here today with, what's motivated you enough that you're here trying to make a difference?
Only three.
Only three. Yes. Big three.
Okay. Three's a great
The
number.
rest, stay tuned. You all have to stay tuned for more episodes if we
Yeah,
really
okay.
that
I was
the
like,
rest.
because just three?
Yes,
Okay, it's just the first
yes.
episode. Okay, three.
It's just introductory. We don't have to
I think the first thing is the lack of caring about students' emotional well-being. Number one. Why? Why is that my number one? It's my number one because in my perception, if a student doesn't believe that I care about them, why should they care about me?
Good point. Good point. Yes.
That just bottom line. There's this idea that, oh, you're the teacher, you should automatically just be respected.
Yeah, you're not our authority. Aren't teachers authority to my education?
No, that's not what it's about.
Yeah.
It's not. No. That's my number one.
Yeah. It's a good one.
My number two would be the performative. I know I'm gonna get shit for this. I already know.
No, we're already getting it anyways. Yeah.
Right.
That's why we're out here.
The performative ways that teachers show up inauthentically. The reason why I'm bringing that up is you have so many teachers, and then this is a huge thing where like the astrology plays in. If you are a teacher who is quiet, and then you show up every day like, and you're performing, students have an awareness that that's not really who you are, and they can, this teacher is fake as fuck. Whereas if you showed up and you were honest and just told your students like more so who you truly are, not only are you going to empower those students who are actually quiet and aren't verbose and extroverted, but you're going to allow them to trust you because you're a person of word and integrity. And you're going to be modeling for them like, yo, I'm a really quiet person, but I love teaching and I'm showing up here for y'all. It's like, you don't have to lie about who you are as a teacher. Students want you to be 100. Okay, so that's my two.
Yeah.
My third one. My third would be okay, I can't say the whole education system. My third one would be the lack of putting students at the center of everything you do in the classroom.
Putting what at the center?
Putting students at the center of everything you do. Meaning, if your curriculum, if your lessons aren't student-centered, and if you are not giving your students an opportunity to feel empowered, to feel like they can have ownership of what you're doing, I think you're missing out on a really huge component. Because when students don't see themselves, they don't feel heard, they don't feel reflected, they're not there. They're not there. They're not going to show up when they don't feel like you care enough about who they are and you uplift it and put it in their face and show them like, you're just as important as what I'm teaching, and this is how I do it. And that's hard for a lot of educators because they're more concerned about, oh, I got to teach about that math problem. I got to teach about, and it's so simple, kind of like how you said, if you're, you know, even if including the students in the math problem, so small, but really effective.
Yeah.
Okay, those are my three.
It's funny you say that. I have a teacher here in our school who would actually use the student's name in like the examples he would do. You know, it was great. And it was cute because he called it, oh, handsome Charlie, he comes to the clinic and he has this problem. And beautiful Tizzle comes in, like he's so cute about it. And like, if you're not paying attention, you're definitely paying attention now. You're suddenly you're like, huh? He's talking about me. Wait, I don't have that problem. Yeah, it's so cute. Like, and he does it so nicely. I'm like always paying attention and I really care about him. And, you know, it really does show that like, you know, there is a weird relationship with teachers. It's funny. And obviously as a Pisces, you definitely talk a lot about the person who's representing the education system. That's super interesting.
Can't help it.
Very Piscean. It's funny, I was been thinking about mine, and I think mine are very much like a Virgo, right? Which makes sense. Which makes sense.
Structure.
Yes. I think my number one that I feel is systemic, but it comes down to the person is curiosity. You've made education all about what you know and what is known. And you killed curiosity to the point where there's literally no point for me to come in if you told me everything is already made up. We've already chosen the answers. So you're not to allow a question that says, oh, we never thought about that, right? You know, and there's a lot of us kids who are probably like, you know, super ahead of the game and we wanted to ask questions. And some teachers, you know, obviously, oh, I only studied elementary school. I can't talk about that. It's beyond my pay grade, you know? And so, yes. And the fact that we all come in, you can't say that, you know, like when you're a child, everybody says you're just naturally curious, right? Because naturally you don't know the world, so everything is new to you. Yet here we are as adults and we see the world as if like everything's known. And everything is right, like, oh, you already invented that. Nothing can be, everything that's been invented under the sun, right? Like they talk about how nothing is new and we're just regurgitating things. And so even in classes, like if you have a teacher teaching the curriculum and this is the 10th generation of the teacher teaching the same information, they are just copying the last teacher who taught it boringly. And no one is adding anything that it makes you want to go, oh, that's curious. Let me go, you know, like physics. I should be curious enough to go out and say, hey, teacher, you told me to try it. I tried it. It works. Now that kid could become the next awesome, you know, like engineer who fixes things because he chose to be curious, right? Like I came in as an engineer wanting to build worlds. I came in and I walked out thinking, I only fix shit. Like people shit. Like it was so frustrating. I was like non-innovating. And yet I came in like, to me, like the .com was huge. It was brand new. So that was curious to me. That's why I went into that field. You know, but no one wants to go, oh, yeah, I'm an engineer. I just fix toilets, like space toilets. Yeah, that's, you know, that's what life.
No. Just the
curiosity. Curiosity to me is like no cats would go to school.
No, oh.
That's why all the cool cats didn't go to school, right? Let's be real. No cool
all
cats.
All of us too. The Lyran people who were here and we're lacking that.
Yes.
Another time.
Exactly. Number 2. Don't dress up social teaching when there's zero social teaching in the school where you have told everybody the giant lie that homeschooling has no social capabilities and you'll get all your social skills in public school. Zero. All I get is trauma, and how I've been avoiding that trauma. And no one tells you when you leave the trauma that you're avoiding this trauma, right? And then you have movies about this trauma and you keep repeating this trauma. Guys, public school, It's just bullies after bullies, even the teachers acting like bullies. I told you that because I'm the teacher. How are you not a bully? Like, come on. Like, and then you're not with your family. I was bullied because I cried when my family like took me to, you know, an American school where I just only knew French people. So to me, I was frightened, right? Like these American kids. Oh my goodness, right? And you know, and so I was bullied because I was, you know, the lone sheep, right? I wasn't part of the clique. So socially, to my mind, I was told by my crew, my gang, hey, we'll put you in the wolves. Go fend for yourself. No wonder I'm gonna have traumatic experiences with these kids that I'm going to be, hey, you want to gang up with me to go beat up other kids? Otherwise, I don't want to get beat up. So if we beat up someone, you know, I don't know whatever comes through kids' minds, but you know, socially, and then the only adult around is our teachers. Yeah. Let's change that lie that there's no social learning, period. We're asked to fend for ourselves. So I would really, and that's where social emotional learning is that, oh, well, let's turn it into a curriculum. No, guys, everything is social.
I love that one. That one I feel speaks so deeply to my whole, like all my three, like that second one.
Yeah.
Because if you did all those things, your two would it exist?
Yeah. And you know, in today, like what I always hear, the first thing we hear when people are like, oh, you homeschool your kids? What is everything wrong with the social aspect of it? No, they don't get bullied. Like, you guys, we don't get bullied at home. I mean, that's a different conversation. But
yeah, like they're totally different. The way they think, the way they communicate, the questions that they ask. They're real critical thinkers because of how they haven't just been suffocated and put into these little boxes.
Exactly.
Good point.
And my third one, it has to be, it's not fun. It's not fun, period. Education is not fun. And I'm just going to be the biggest rebel. I don't know why education should not be fun. I played games. I learned random facts about Final Fantasy and Pokemon, everybody. If I know, no, I actually don't know that much about Pokemon. I'll be honest about that. So much. But Pokemon is like the four elements. Like these animals, they're totally the four elements. These kids can remember the Pokemon stuff, some baseball card trivia, but you can't remember maybe the periodic table and everything that's made around the periodic table. Then the problem is, what have we done to education? Make it so not fun that I think everything else but school is fun.
Wow. I felt that in my gut. Very Piscean, I know, but still, like.
So it's very Virgo fiery, right? And I want some passion in my life, and definitely school, right? Took that out, and especially the energy of healing and social and connecting with other people, right? It's definitely taken out of that system.
And it's those, okay, so what I'm hearing as we, you know, we shared our 6 things. Without fun, that's like fire. The curiosity,
air.
Totally air.
Yeah.
Right.
The nurturing, caring about the person is water.
Water. And then the earth, it's just like the structure of it, right? It's so.
I feel like the structure has been, we're working with concrete rather than dirt. Right? And that's the problem, is we should be using the natural elements that Earth has abundant of, rather than keep building things that is not abundant, and then telling ourselves we are scarce because we ran out of these things, which we created from the abundance that the earth already gave us.
Very true. And it doesn't give back. It doesn't give.
Right. It's not a regenerating system, right? And I think earth is always a regenerative system.
For sure.
That's the most important part actually in TCM. So I also forgot, like today I'm actually studying traditional Chinese medicine. So acupuncture, herbal medicine is very important in my practice. And so it's important to understand even like the herbs and how the herbs change the chemicals in us, right? And how much we are connected to the earth. When we say grounding yourself, we literally are touching our feet to the ground, and that is connecting to really what I believe the earth is a giant energy system, or even mind, right? Because everything that grows on the earth is connected to this hive mind, and we are part of the red blood cells are moving around on the earth. So, going back to like, why are we creating a system of scarcity where the earth has always been around us, and being able to connect to that energy? Because electricity is through also the dirt. I mean, we ground electricity through the dirt, and there's a reason for that. So that's why like it's so important that like we understand. And I think
I was literally just thinking that, and I was like, should I bring that up? You just like snatched it out my brain. You literally just snatched it out my brain.
We're totally in sync on this. Yes, exactly. Like going back. So, what we'll really want to focus in this series is bring back the 5 elements. And we talk about the 5 elements because the 4 elements are the basic foundation of our reality. But the 5th element, what we don't talk about, really,
multipass,
exactly. Which is the emotional connection, the caring for people, the love energy. And so we believe that the love vibration, which is that divine spark energy, the love vibration that really makes the entire universe go, is that 5th element that brings the 4 elements together, that manipulates. Like, isn't it like when you're in love with fire, you start to mess with fire, and then with fire bending, you do really cool things with fire. Oh my God, fire dancing looks amazing, right?
Woo!
And so that's how that fire energy is harnessed. And so for us, it's like, how do we, use our love for life to harness the elements and move in the world? And so if we rethink our world that way, then we are superheroes controlling our elements, right?
Absolutely.
Yes.
I love how you put all that together.
Yeah, so we are all superheroes. Joe, did you have anything else to share? I think we're probably coming into the end of the show, so we probably want to wrap things up.
I'm just really excited that we have embarked upon this, that we got the fire started, right? And we're being stewards of this mission of providing different trains of thought, different ways of approaching a situation, so that those who might be tinkering or thinking about the idea feel encouraged and empowered to do so. Because it's like, if we can do it, you can do it too.
Yes, exactly. And if we don't know, that's why we're all curious. Let's find out together, right? And that's
you better ask somebody.
Exactly, right? Anyone, everywhere, brothers and sisters, labyrinthers, thank you so much for watching this show. We're looking to do this twice a month. We got a lot going on, but we're hoping that we can keep the conversations going about education. So if you love the topics that we're having today, please subscribe, like us, connect to our website. It's cosmiclabyrinth.world, and you can connect with us. We just did an event, and it was in California, so we're hoping to do more events around the world. But the goal is to really connect together in a cosmic way, right? So let's become cosmic human beings together. Thank you for watching this show. Thank you to my co-host, Tizzle, the great, beautiful Professor Tizzle.
Love you so much, Charlie. Divine.
Thank you very much. And we'll see you guys soon in the beautiful labyrinth, everybody.
Peace, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.